Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Sunday. Welcome into another edition of the NCAA Hoops Hour. I am your host, the big man on campus. And thank you for watching. Hope you're having a great morning. I've talked about it before. As I get older, and not just because of football, not just, I'm just enjoying it now. As I get older, Sundays become better and better, particularly in the morning. You look at where I'm at now. We have a snowstorm on the way. It's going to snow later today. After the show, I got to go out to the store and get some things. But right now it's clear. We got some hoops on the tube today. We got some bettable opportunities. Got some coffee. It's just Sundays are great. I like Sundays a lot. As I get older, they're great. They're better and better. Obviously, once basketball and all that stuff ends, it's not as fun, but I enjoy it. It's a fun day to have, and kind of off a weird day yesterday. Probably one of the weirder betting days I've ever had. I welcome all of you in. I had 3 plays yesterday on my premium card. I had 2 pushes. And I had 1 loss. Now, many of you are probably saying, well, that's not really that good a day. And no, it's not, but it could have been worse, really. But then I look at it and say to myself, well, it was just super weird how it happened. You look at both games I pushed. In the Mississippi State game, I'll take a push any day of the week. They had 18 turnovers in a game. Then I look at it and say, well, if they didn't have they had 15 turnovers, they probably would have won and covered. Baylor, a lot of people that I had won. They got 6.5. They turned the ball over 18 times, missed 8 free throws. Those are little things that, it's hard to cap. But, when I look back on it and I say to myself, you really have to take that into account when you're making bets. If you're constantly betting on teams that are in the 230s, the 240s, the 260s in turnover percentage, you're not going to win a lot of games. It's just not going to happen. And those were 2 lucky ones. So I come out unscathed pretty much. I'm down a unit on the week. We have 1 more day. I'm very happy with where I'm at right now. I have a lot of plays still coming. We have plenty of games today, so we'll get into it here. I also want to comment quickly on the Nevada situation last night. Listen, I think Nevada, and I've been saying, I think Nevada is one of the most overrated teams in the country. But last night, I will say, I don't have any. I mean, I might be in the minority here, but I don't have any issue with what went on last night by those Nevada players. Listen, when you go to a basketball game, I understand there's going to be harassment. I understand there's going to be stuff said, but when it becomes racial, when it becomes touching players, when it becomes stuff like that, that's when I throw it out of the window. You got to remember, these are kids at the end of the day. These are kids that have a competitive drive to them. They're very much into the game, and when after a game you lose that way and you're touched and you're pushed and you're called things that you shouldn't be called, it's going to breed issues. Jordan Caroline punched a fire extinguisher box, which, listen, he's got to be smarter than that. He's going to probably get suspended over that or have something happen. But look, I don't blame the kid. If what went on happened, it's hard to justify not reacting that way. And if you're Utah State, you have to do a better job of crowd control there. And that's one of the things where storming courts is cool and all, and it's great, but it can become dangerous with that amount of people. Most young kids are pricks. I mean, they're going to run up to they don't know sportsmanship or anything like that. It's just, and if you haven't seen it, go on Twitter. I mean, it's been posted everywhere. You can't necessarily see what happened leading up, but he was visibly pissed off after the game. Let's get into some games here, and we welcome all of you in here. Thanks for joining us. Do us a favor, hit the like button if you're not subscribed to the channel. Welcome in. Make sure you subscribe. Starting today, you'll begin to see conference tournament previews. They'll be out a little bit later. They're not going to be live. They're going to be produced and before they're posted. So look out for those tonight. They'll be out on on Twitter. We'll have some starting tonight. So make sure you check those out. Atlantic Sun getting going tomorrow. One more thing. Shout out to mybookie.ag. Make sure you're supporting our sponsor, mybookie.ag. Look, the way you keep a show going is you support the sponsor. You make sure that you frequent them. And why wouldn't you? The conference tournaments are coming up. The tournament's coming up. You have to make sure you have multiple betting options. And MyBookie is a great place to start. Great lines. You can bet first half added games, which is very cool. Not a lot of books offer that. They have a $50,000 bracket contest. They have reload bonuses if you happen to go broke. And when you sign up, if you're brand new, they're going to give you a nice 50% deposit bonus. So make sure you're checking out everything MyBookie, whether you're looking to bet NASCAR today, Champions League next week, whatever you're looking for. Look, if you want to bet, entertainment props, they got them. Esports, cricket, whatever you want, MyBookie has it. Use promo code BMOC when you open your account. Get yourself 50% on your first deposit. That is only for new accounts, and it's up to $1,000. So if you put $200 on there, they're going to give you a free $100 to make some wagers. So make sure you're checking out MyBookie today and getting in the game. Let's get into some matchups here. We'll start out with Notre Dame heading on the road to take on Louisville. And you look at this game getting started at 1:30 here. Louisville's kind of in a slump right now. They've lost 5 of 6. They've lost 3 in a row. Where's the offense been for Louisville? They haven't scored 60 or more in 4 straight games. What's happened to the offense? Now you can say a lot of it has to do with who they played, and that's a good point. I mean, you look at Louisville. They've played teams like Syracuse. They played Virginia. But what was the excuse to losing to Boston College and scoring 59 points? What was the excuse to only score 55 against Clemson? Louisville's not playing well right now, and you look at why that's been. Remember what happened February 12th against Duke? Blew a big-time lead with 8 to go. It's no secret that since then they just haven't been very good, losing 3 of 4. But then you look at Notre Dame, and then you look at them and say, well, what's been going on with them? And they've improved. I mean, anything they can do to at least win games in this conference important. But they've only scored 60 or more twice over the last 6 games. But here's one thing about Notre Dame that I respect. They don't get blown out. I mean, seriously, outside of the Miami game, I mean, have they really gotten blown out this year? I mean, I guess the Duke and Virginia, but I'd take those out. Those are two top 3 teams in the country. So take those 2 games out. Other than that, they came back against Virginia, lost by 6. Lost by 8 to Wake. Lost by 7 to Florida State. Lost by 6 to North Carolina. Lost by 4 to North Carolina State. Lost by 10 to Syracuse. They don't get blown out. And they're pretty much healthy now. Juwan Durham's getting minutes again. Prentice Hubb's been in there. John Mooney's been good for them. But I'll tell you where I'd go with this game. It's hard to not like the under in this game. I mean, Notre Dame's really poor on offense. I mean, 12th in efficiency, 13 in effective field goal in the ACC. And they get nothing from the three-point line, shooting just 29.5%. They don't get to the foul line. The one thing Notre Dame doesn't do is turn the ball over. Number 1 in the ACC, and that's a Mike Bray norm. They don't turn the ball over, which they're a great team to back. And the added problem here is, look, we've seen over the last few games, when they play a pretty high-level opponent, so top 25 opponent, Notre Dame doesn't score. They don't score more than 60. It's been evident over the last, pretty much the whole season. So at home, you would expect a much better performance from Louisville. But I look at Louisville right now, I mean, is this that game where they just kind of show out on offense? Maybe, but I don't know that it's going to be crazy. I think they can get to 72, 73. But I don't know if Notre Dame gets more than six. I mean, Notre Dame's not going to score more than 65. I think the under has some value here at 136.5 going under the number. Both teams pretty slow paced. Notre Dame's particularly slow, 12th in the league. Louisville 7th. So, I mean, I don't know if you're going to have a ton of fouls in this game. Neither of these teams really gets to the foul line. I think this is a slow-paced game. Both teams right now not good offensively. Let's get into some comments here. Thank you, Paul Harris. Appreciate that. We'll get to that game. Emza, what's up? Welcome in. Maryland or nothing, says Jordan. We'll get into that. What's your email? My email is bmocsports@gmail.com. Will my bookie do MoneyGram payments? I'm not totally sure. Pfluger back. Oh, Pfluger's back today. I didn't see that. Well, that's big. That makes me kind of like Notre Dame, frankly. If I can get an 8.5, I kind of like Notre Dame. I didn't see that. Good call. Good call. Whoever said that, Jordan Parnes. Good call. I didn't see Pfluger's back today. Usually, the site that I use for odds will make that known. I did not see that. Good call. Louisville is due for a good game. Notre Dame's horrible. Yeah, but they don't get blown out. So, I mean, with Pfluger back, that's nice. If he can give you 15 minutes, 8-9 points, that's a nice grab getting him back. Did I see the altercation in the tunnel? I've already talked about that. Listen, guys, you're gonna have to re-listen to the game if you haven't listened to the show if you haven't seen that. But yeah, I'll lean under. Yeah, what are we? That's what I thought, Brian. Pfluger, I thought was out for the season. Jordan, what's your story with that? Why are you putting out bad info? I don't know. I was kind of worried when I heard that myself. How's he back? I thought he was out myself. Okay, so that's bad info. Settle down, Jordan Parnes. Bad info. Okay, thank you. Fake news. Okay, we got it. We got it. Thanks, guys. No, we don't need listen, guys, that's one thing I see in these shows. When we have one person, just one person's fine. We don't need 17 people. He's out. Okay, we got it. Thank you. Not a big deal. Doesn't matter a ton either way. But I still, for the record, I would take Notre Dame. They've been pretty scrappy. Gun to my head, though, I like the under here. Right, let's keep it going. SMU hosting Wichita. SMU -2, total 141.5. This is another game. I like the under. I think this total is high. I thought it'd be around where the previous game was, 136.5, 137. You look at SMU as far as from a game perspective. SMU's 41-12 at home over the last 3 years straight up. They don't lose very often. In fact, it's very, very unlikely they're going to lose at home. They're just very good inside Moody Coliseum. And I've talked about how you beat SMU. If you can shoot against SMU, you will beat SMU. It's that simple. Because the way they defend is very packed in. They play a very packed-in defense. For whatever reason, Tim Jankovic plays that defense, but he doesn't have guards that can defend at a high level. Here's the thing, though. Without Jere Foster, they've not been as good defensively. But still, they're getting it. They're still a tough team to beat if you can't shoot against. And look, I'm going to be straight with you. Wichita's not going to come in here and shoot the lights out. This Wichita team, very average offensively. In fact, you look at on the season, and .315 in effective field goal percentage. They just don't score very much. Neither of these teams turn it over a ton. You're not going to see a ton of easy runouts and poor possessions. Both pretty solid on the defensive end for what the teams want to do, which is important. You look at, again, SMU, very, very much a team that likes to get to the line. likes to shoot the ball inside the half court, very slow, not going to shoot a ton of threes. I just think the pace here is going to constitute a slow game. Do I think the game's going to be in the 50s? No, but if you're giving me a total in the 140s here, I'm going to lean under. Neither of these teams is particularly prevalent from the three-point line. Neither shoot above 32.5%. So this is going to be a game played in the half court. I think it's going to be a game played in the half court that's not going to be particularly effective because I think both defenses are pretty good. Again, to beat SMU, I think you got to shoot the ball at a high level. I don't think Wichita can do that on the road. So I'm going to lean under in this one as well, under 141.5. Thank you, Ron Crawford. Thanks for watching. Appreciate that. All these games, broadcasts are going under. Okay. I mean, there's a lot of games that are broadcasted. Settle down, Dan Kelly. I should put out a news guy. I need a news guy. I need someone that, you know what I need on this show? I need like a guy that doesn't talk unless there's an injury. Like he'll like say something here, hey, Pfluger's back in today. Because I don't always get everyone. So that would be cool to have. But I'm pretty much good otherwise. I usually don't miss that kind of stuff. But let's keep it moving here. Tulane Temple. Temple hosting Tulane here. A big spot for Temple, big number to cover for Temple. Temple's only won one game this year by more than 17 points. That was against UConn about a month ago in Temple. We all know what Temple's MO is. They don't cover big numbers generally. They're a team that, for whatever reason, in the second half soils themselves. And that was no more evident the first time these two teams played. Temple went down to Tulane and beat them by 8 points. You look at it in the first half, Temple was up 39-31. They had an 8-point lead. They covered the first half. But you look at it in the second half, they had trouble. I mean, couldn't pull away, couldn't finish. Shiz Alston was terrific the first time they played. In fact, him and Pierre-Louis were fantastic. 44 points for those two combined. But you look at Tulane. I mean, they were scrappy in that game. You wonder, though, where Tulane's head is. I mean, this game is virtually pointless. I mean, they're the worst team in this conference. They're, I think, just ready to get to the conference tournament and see if they can make something happen. Maybe pull an upset. The season is, at this point, over for Tulane for the most part. Can they play spoiler? Tulane hasn't won a game since December 17th. Listen, I know Temple pretty well. I mean, it's not a secret that this team just doesn't pull away. I mean, but I'll tell you where I would go here. I'd probably lay first half. First half probably is a pretty solid play here. Temple jumped out to a pretty nice lead the first game. In fact, it was funny because in the first 10 minutes of the game, Temple was up big. I mean, they were up like, I want to say like 20-7 or something crazy. They were up big in the game. They had a really solid lead. They came out firing. This number I just don't have much interest in. Temple will win. That's really all I care about at this point. I don't really mind that, nothing really matters to me here on this one. I just don't have a big feel. I'm sure the first half's going to be 10 and a half. And that's a bit high for me. If it's 8.5, maybe I'm interested, but this one's going to be a pass for me overall. I'll just, as a fan, obviously root that Temple doesn't stub their toe here, which is kind of what they do. Is DK Metcalf the next David Boston? Listen, we can speculate always on who and what a player is going to do. DK Metcalf could be the next David Boston, or he could be the next Julio Jones. To me, a human being that is at under 2% body fat, I don't know how that's possible physically. That's pretty amazing to me. I don't. Again, I'm nowhere near this physically. None of us are. To me, that's a mythological sculpture, really. I'm blown away at how physically, imposing that guy. That's amazing. I I'm lost for words, put it that way. I feel like you take the kid just on principle. I mean, not only does he 1.9% body fat, but he ran a 4.3. I mean, those measurables are just unbelievable. I mean, he's going to get a lot of interest, man. That's amazing. So, no, I don't think he's the next David Boston. I think he'll be much better than David Boston. That's amazing. That's truly amazing. I'm at a loss for words with that when I saw that. Matter of fact, Quentin Williams ran a 4.8, I believe, today. He's 303 pounds. He's a defensive tackle. He ran a 4.8. That's fucking nuts. You wonder why these guys get paid the way they do. That's why. They're physically unbelievable. To me, Quentin Williams, I haven't made my mock yet. I wait till after the combine. And I'm watching the combine. I'm watching what's going on. Quentin Williams could be the number one pick. I mean, we're going to, we'll see what happens with Nick Bosa. Obviously, people love Nick Bosa. And obviously, Kyler Murray is flying up the boards, which again, I'm not going to say what I'm going to make, but I'll have a thought on the draft soon. I'll have a 3-round draft. I do a 3-round mock draft. Bosa ran a 4.84. I mean, it's amazing how talented and physically amazing these kids are. Just wild. But all right, let's get back to basketball here. We'll have plenty of college football stuff. I kill draft props. I'm very good at draft props. I spend a lot of time and I consult with people that are in the know about this. Shout out to a guy, Joe Everett. He's a fan of the show. I've known him for a while. He does some real good NFL draft stuff. Also, Steve Draft is a follower of mine. I don't know if he's watching, but a very smart NFL guy as well, draft-wise. And I'll have some of those guys on as the content gets weaned down here and we get closer to the draft. 351 people in here. Shout out to you. Thanks for watching. Do us a favor, hit the like button. Also, if you're on Twitter, retweet this show. Please. It's very helpful for me. If you have a nice following, even if you don't, retweet the show. All right, settle down, Gerard. I mean, we're not talking ticket prices here. They get paid a lot because they're physical freaks and they get hit in the head constantly. All right, let's get back to basketball here. We'll go down to Creighton Marquette. What a wild game this was the first time they played. 106-104. That was the final score. They did go to overtime. They scored 38 points in overtime. However, still, I mean, there were 210 points scored in this game. So you do math. I mean, they still would have scored into the 170s even without overtime. Okay, so put it that way. All right. They scored 210 minus 38 is, 172. So, or what? It's in the 170s, or high 160s. You look at the total in this game today, 146.5 been bet down to. And the money's on the over. Why is the number coming down? Something going on in this game. Because I look at this game and I don't know where are the points not coming from. Let me give you some stats, guys. First game, 33 made threes in that game between both teams combined. Marcus Howard had 53 points. He just destroyed Creighton. He had 10 threes. You look at these teams. I mean, as far as points per game from three, 32 and 28. These teams love the three. They're very efficient. But the number is 30 points less than where it ended in the first game. Creighton's not gotten that much better defensively. Listen, I'm going to tell you where I'm going in this game and what I would do. But to me, the number's just so weird. It's hard to go crazy over it. I'm going to take the over. It's not going to be a big play. It's going to be something kind of small. I'm going to take the over at 146.5 because this game just doesn't make sense to me. I would have put the number at 151, 152 probably. I mean, you're not going to put it at 165, but I think with the pace in this game, with the efficiency, I mean, is Creighton just going to get shut down in this game offensively? The way they shoot threes, I don't see it. I mean, this game is going to have to be just a brutally hard game to watch. And that's the only way it goes under. How did my UFC bets go? I had Zabit, he won. I had John Jones, he won, and I had Garbrandt, he lost. So, 2-1. Zabit was a lock. I said that the other day. He wasn't losing. Laid the 240. It's okay. Easy winner. And it was. Look, I'm not the best in UFC. I just enjoy watching it, but that kid's not losing. That kid, I wouldn't be surprised if in like a year or two, that kid's like one of the best in the business. He just has that. He has that. It's like when here's a good connection to this. When I first saw Snooki, right, when I was a kid, I was like 16. I saw Snooki at Karma, teen night. She was the same age as me. And I remember saying to a friend of mine, that girl's got it, bro. That girl's like something about her that's just, there's something. Zabit has that too. Like he's just, in the fight game, he's it. And look, again, I'm not a big UFC guy. I just watch it as a fan. But to me, he has it. So yeah, I go over in this game, 146.5. I don't understand this one. Native Queen says DePaul plus 8.5 first half. So he's checking a little live action there. Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, St. John's has jumped out, but DePaul hanging tough. So you're looking okay there, Native Queen, so far. They're only down 4. I got plenty of time. They have shrunk the lead a little bit, so that's good. All right, guys, let's get into Maryland and Michigan, the big game of the day, the game that a lot of people are excited about. And you look at the line in this game, Maryland is now a favorite, a 1.5-point favorite. And I'm going to recommend that you back them here on the money line. Obviously, the line move is interesting. There's a couple reasons why I like Maryland in this game, one of which is Charles Matthews isn't playing. That's a huge loss for Michigan. First of all, he was the leading scorer in the first game. He had 14 points. Second of all, he's the best defender they have. He can switch. He can go on he can guard other people. He's a great defender. I mean, John Beilein losing Matthews today, that's a huge loss. Huge loss. It's on the road. It's a revenge game for Maryland. And look, we've talked about, I'm not a big Ignas Brazdeikis fan from a physicality standpoint. I don't know if he can handle Fernando and Smith down low. I think he's a little too, he moves around a lot. Typical Michigan big. Very Moritz Wagner, Mitch McGarry type. Likes to move around, doesn't like to play that significant, get in the box role. He's more of a Nowitzki type. Fernando is a catch the ball and dunk the fucking ball. That's what he is. He's a power kind of guy. 3 of Michigan's 4 losses have come on the road. And I think, and again, this has hurt me the last 24 hours, but I've had teams that are generally average turning the ball over. They've turned the ball over a lot. Look, if Michigan turns Maryland over like they did in the first game, they'll win. It's very much going to come down to Maryland will win this game if they have under 10 turnovers. Let's say 12. Under 12. If they have under 12 turnovers, they'll win. If they have 17, they're going to lose. It's just that simple. And you look at the first game. Matthews plays. He scores 14 points. He's a great defender. They win, I think, by 13. Now, I'm not saying Matthews is worth 14 points, but, again, that's a big loss for them. I like Maryland here. I would bet them on the money line. I would take them at a pick 'em. I think they're the play here. So Calriso is saying Maryland a pick at William Hill. How about that? There you go. You also add into the fact this is important as well. This is where I think this game is going to be won as well for Maryland. First of all, not turning the ball over. That's the key. Here are the keys to the game for Maryland, because they do that on TV. Key to the game, number one, under 12 turnovers. You can't turn the ball over. If you do that, you win. The other one, free throw percentage. You look at Michigan on the season, 68.8%. Maryland, 75%. Maryland, 50th in the country. Michigan, 244th. There you go. That's the difference in the game. If Maryland could do those two things, they will win the game. And if they don't, they will lose. You can mark my words. At the end of this game, if Maryland loses it, I bet you can look at that turnover counter, and it'll say 15, 17, and they'll miss 6 free throws. They can't miss more than 3 free throws in this game. It's that simple. And this is kind of, guys, like the St. John's game the other night. Remember the St. John's game where they were playing Xavier and they didn't have Heron? It's the same situation. It's a team with very little depth, losing their best player. And listen, no offense to Michigan, but Brooks and Livers, I'm not in love with. So you really are running with 5 or 6 guys today if you're Michigan. This is a terrific spot for Maryland. Terrific. So do what you will here. Michigan, 351 out of 353 team in bench minutes. They're even worse than St. John's. They get 17% of their minutes from the bench. That is 351st in the country. That is shocking. That's very bad. That's 2 for the bottom. So the only teams worse, South Dakota State, Mike Dahlm's group, they only play about 5 or 6, and the Hartford Hawks. Not many worse. So good luck with that. And, yeah, I think Maryland is a pretty bad matchup. Add in the fact that I think Fernando and Smith are matchup problems. When you lose a guy like Matthews, it's not just an offensive matchup. He's the best defender. BMC Fall, he's a Michigan fan. He'll agree that without Matthews, that's a huge loss defensively. He's their best defender. So be that for what it is. And also, Michigan's the public side here. Why is the line going the other way? I mean, it's pretty simple here. Good situational spot, revenge at home. Big man, do you have a lighter in your hand, or am I going crazy? You're going crazy. I don't smoke. I've never bought a lighter in my life. I'm not sure what you're looking at. Maybe I'm magic and I had it disappear. Let's get back to the games. A few more here that I like. Washington, today against Stanford. Interesting spot here for the Huskies. On the road, awful loss down at Cal, of all places. They've had a little time to lick their wounds. Now they're back at it against a Stanford team that look, they should beat. This should be a pretty good spot for Washington. Huskies should bounce back. It's hard to envision them not. I mean, you look at Stanford. I mean, when you play a zone the way Washington runs it, you have to be able to rebound. You have to be able to do little things to create more possessions than just one and done. Because generally in the zone, that's what happens. It's a one and done. You put up a bad shot, you miss it, we go the other way. Stanford's got to do little things to combat that. Washington's holding opponents at 31.7% from three. This Cardinal team doesn't score. I mean, they're bad at from three-point percentage. At the line, they're really poor, and they're not great rebounding the ball. Also, you look at the first game these guys played, 80-64, Washington, won by 16. Thibault only played 23 minutes. Dickerson only played 11 minutes, and they still won by 16. Listen, I look at Washington in the last game, and I couldn't give a fuck that they lost. In fact, I thought it was a good thing. I mean, I don't like teams that are undefeated going into – I just don't. I'm not into it. You lost to Cal, big deal. They're still 3.5 games up. They're not going to lose this conference. And you look at on the season, I mean, they've been a great team to back. 16-10 against the number. 5-3 against the spread on the road in conference. I like Washington here. I think this number's too low. I'd have put this number at 3.5. I don't know why this number's so low. One other thing as well, and this is a good metric to remember, we talked about turnovers. Stanford, 315th in the country at turning the ball over 15 a game. Bad, bad, bad. You cannot win with those kind of metrics. You just can't. And look, let's be honest. I mean, this isn't one of the better Stanford teams. I mean, it's just that simple. I mean, they're not. First time they played, Stanford had 18 turnovers. You're not going to win a game like that. I like Washington today. It's hard not to. Let's get to one more game here, and then we'll just kind of go all over the place. Let's go to West Kentucky, Southern Miss. If you know me, you know my premium plays. I've had a lot of connections with West Kentucky over the season. Thank you, Sasha. Yeah, we've talked about the game. That was the first game we talked about. West Kentucky at home today. Listen, they're not winning this conference in the regular season. The 3 games back, it's not going to happen. But second place is up for grabs. They're playing a Southern Miss team today that is right on their heels. West Kentucky needs this game today. Question is, do they cover? I think they do here. I do. I think Southern Mississippi is very dependent on getting into the lane. That's kind of where they live. They're all about, kind of creating in the half court, getting into the lane, very low, slow tempo, 294 in the country. It's interesting because they actually shoot threes pretty well. They just don't shoot a ton of them. They're really dependent on half court offense. And to be real, West Kentucky's a tough matchup there. West Kentucky's been really good in the half court. Defensively, they have the best effective field goal percentage. Defensively, that means in the half court, they're really locking down. I also look at West Kentucky here. Most of their offense comes inside the three-point line as well. 52% from two-point range this year for the Hilltoppers. They're at home, a place they've done real well at this year. Beat Wisconsin earlier this season. They've been good there. There's 2 things that I worry about for Southern Miss this game. Can they defend at a high level? I don't think they can. I think this is a bad matchup for them. And I also look at them and say, this is a metric that's important. Southern Mississippi, 350th out of 353 teams in average height. Okay, so what's the average player on their team? He's 75 inches tall, which is pretty. And that's average 6'5". That's the average player on their team. They don't have one player that plays regularly, above 6'5". Most of their big guys are very low-level role players. I don't know who stops Basie in this game. Charles Basie is a first-round pick. To me, he's a top 20 pick. He's a guy that I think at the next level is going to be really good. I'll have him in my mock in the top 20. You look at the first time they played, 14-17 for Basie. And that was, I think, a poor game from him. He destroyed them. I think the goal has to be in and out basketball today if you're Western Kentucky. I think that's a problem for Southern Miss. They just don't have the personnel to guard West Kentucky and to match up against West Kentucky. The one thing West Kentucky has to do to cover here, they're another team. They're pretty young. That's one thing about West Kentucky. They're 320 in experience. They're a young team. Got a lot of young kids. But what I do love about West Kentucky is Lamonte Bearden has grabbed a bigger role. He's playing a lot more minutes. If you know who Bearden is, he played at Buffalo. He had some issues with coaching. He kind of was benched for a little bit this year. He's come back. He's given them much better outings lately. And he's become, I think, a pretty good guy in their lineup. You look at the last few games. He's not turning the ball over a ton. He's really solidifying their offensive sets where they run offense. The key today, and why you won't see a West Kentucky cover, if you see one, I think they will, but if you don't see it, this is going to be why. They turn the ball over. They're 10th in the league in turning the ball over. It's too much. And that, a lot of that has to do with the inexperience. I mean, you look at Michigan, or I'm sorry, Maryland. Maryland and West Kentucky both very young. That's why they turn the ball over. There's no secret that if you're a team with a lot of experience, you're not going to turn the ball over as much. So that's my thought. So I'd lean West Kentucky here if I had to play it. How about North Texas? Yeah, I actually agree with Funny B. I'm not running to the window to grab North Texas right now. No, I do think they're probably a good match here. Marshall's not played particularly well either. Marshall plays little to no defense, and I think this could be a spot where North Texas kind of figures it out. But yeah, I agree with Funny B. I'm not running to the window on the road to lay 6 points with a bad team. I'll gladly do it with a good team that's playing well, but other than Elmore, there's just not a ton of talent on Marshall. Thank you, Marcos. Appreciate that. Robbie Tops. Thank you. Appreciate that. Russ B. Big man. I just connected with a gal on Bumble. Good for you. That's not a website I use on a regular basis and have never used, but I don't know much about it. Good for you. Hope it works out for you. I think people are almost trying to solidify what I've done, and that's meet a hot girl, date her, and keep her. And I've been able to do that for about 6 months now. We'll see if it continues. And I'm sure you're all probably looking at me and saying, you sack of shit, you little snake. How did you do that? Because you're pretty overweight, you're not that good looking, or whatever. But here's the thing that I do that most of you men don't. I know exactly what to say to a woman. I know how to get to her heart, and I know how to treat her well. And that's how it works about. That's all that matters in relationships. Many years ago, a great man once told me, this is true, if you got a good line of bullshit, you can reel them in left and right all day long. It's true. It's true. You've got to be able to talk. You got to be able to make her feel like $1 million. You got to make her feel like you're not trying to fuck. You're not trying to get with her. Hey, how you doing? Can I buy you a drink? Let's talk. We sit down, we talk. This girl I'm with now, she's terrific. I mean, she's the light of my life. She's fantastic. I couldn't be happier with her. This broad is just, she's great. She's sweet. She's a hard worker. She grinds. She's sexy. She's just great. She makes me happy. You call chicks broads all the time. Man, that's because I'm from the East Coast, and that's what I do. What do you mean? Who cares? What does that matter? I call my girl broad right to her face. She knows it. That's how it goes. That's the cohort that I run with. That's what I call a girl. Thank you, David. Appreciate that. Can she cook? Yes, of course she can cook. I need a Becky. What does that mean? What is a Becky? White girl? But do I think Lafayette will cover? Gun to my head, I'd take them. How about Oregon State? Yeah, I don't know about that one. Both teams are unbackable to me. Is she wife material? Yeah, I definitely think she's wife material. Sure. You called a girl broad. Well, you're probably not messing with the right ones. The girls that I mess with, they're okay with that. They understand that's just how I talk. What's her best dish? Well, see, the problem is my girl's vegan, so she doesn't. She's not a meat eater. She doesn't eat meat or anything anything like that. So she eats a lot of vegan stuff. I'm actually more of I like to cook kind of, but she makes some great omelets, great eggs. I mean, it's not crazy. We even had I don't live with her, so we don't have we haven't had a ton of sit down meals. We kind of we go out a lot for dinner, but yeah, she actually she's not totally vegan. She does eat fish. She's a pescatarian, so she eats a lot of fish, a lot of vegetables, no red meat, that kind of stuff. Sounds like a West Coast girl. No, I mean she's more of just she's real health conscious. She's very much about not eating red meat. She doesn't eat any. I think she's more pescatarian, but I think she's kind of moving to be vegan. She wants to be totally, away from any kind of fish or chicken or beef. Sounds like I'm in love. Oh, sure I am. She's great. She's a terrific girl. She's a terrific person, and I'm very happy. Big Man is the OG. I'm not the OG of South Philly. I don't live in South Philly anymore. I used to. And I'm not an OG. I'm more of a somewhat old OG. Did I meet her at a bar? No, I did not. Need to get you on the Fantasy Network with Gabe in the morning. Well, they can call me. They know my number. We've had many meetings. Is she trying to get you to go vegan? No, she's not trying to get me to go vegan. She's very respectful of the fact that I don't want to go vegan. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate that. Do I eat meat? Yes, I eat meat. I hope she's watching the show. She's not watching the show. She's asleep right now. She works till 4 a.m. So she's asleep right now. On the weekend, she works as a bottle girl, so she's not awake right now. If all else fails, do what I got to do. Go back to the old country and get a nice one. There you go. That'll work for you. Curious on Quinnipiac. I don't have much on that one. Illinois, not ready to run and lay 5-6 points with them. Already talked about Marquette. Settle down, Ashley. I gotta wonder, Ashley. You sound like you. I think Ashley's a man. I think it's his girls account. I think he's told me that before. Okay, I was gonna say that sounds kind of weird coming from a woman. You've got to get a good steak. Yeah, I eat steak every week. I'm a big steak guy. She's not a stripper. No, she's a fucking bottle girl. You fucking idiots. She doesn't strip. I don't have any girl. I would not date a stripper. Get out of here with that. Stop. Don't disrespect. She's not a stripper. She works at a club. She gives people bottles. That's what she does. I didn't say what club she works at. Don't be disrespectful, guys. Come on, don't be like that. That's rude. Because I don't want to date a stripper. That's why I'm not into that. Thank you, Shadow. That's very kind. How about that? Shadow's been with a girl for 28 years. His wife. How about that? Good for you, man. It's just rude. I mean, just because I say she works at a club and she's a bottle girl, she's a stripper. I mean, that's a bit much. It's a little out of line, actually. Middle Tennessee, no opinion. No, I have no interest in UAB or UTSA. I kind of like UTSA, but they're coming off a rough loss. Where did I get my stats from? I would never date a stripper. In fact, I wouldn't even communicate with a stripper. I have no interest in doing that. None. Listen, I'm pretty old school. We don't do that in my culture. It's not part of what we are about. I'm not saying that I don't want that. I have a problem with it. It's just not for me. I've never been to a strip club. I don't ever want to go to a strip club. I have no. I agree. They are people. I just don't have any interest in it. That's all. I prefer to go another way. That's all. It's no disrespect to them. I just prefer to not have that. Any Ryder thoughts? No, I think Ryder's been really disappointing. My sister's a stripper, makes $60K a year. Yeah, you can make a ton of money. That's cool. It's just not for me. That's all. Just not into it. I don't like. I mean, if I want to see a girl naked, I can just call her, have her come over. I don't really need. You know. No, I've never been. I also find it a bit kind of it's marginal, let's say. I don't know. It's kind of like it's kind of tough. I mean, I feel like women should respect themselves a little bit more to do that. But I mean, again, I wish I wish them all luck if that's what they do. I haven't seen any emails today regarding premium picks because there's no rush to send one out. I don't have one until later, so you'll get one. Don't worry. And again, guys, every time I have a premium selection, I'll post on Twitter that I have one. So if you're a subscriber of mine, which most of you understand at this point, but Wes is probably a new guy. I'm not going to comment on what that is. Did I go over St. John's? No, because the game had already started. I got into a heated argument last night about Nevada and how they're better than they look. No, they're not. They haven't played anybody. Their best win is Utah State, a game in which they, okay, Utah State, cool. A team that's on the bubble. Best win. By the way, that's their best win, Nevada. Utah State. But if they go to the ACC, they can win it. Get out of here. Beat it. All right, guys, I'm out of here. You all have a great day. I got to get to the store here before the snow starts coming down. I got to get some stuff for dinner tonight. And I got to be back, and I got to get ready for our conference tournament previews, which I will be recording today. We're recording the first one with Andy from the Deep Dive podcast. The Whale Capper and Andy podcast. Andy will join us for the Atlantic Sun. We'll go over that. And you'll start seeing them trickle out. Make sure you watch them. They're going to be very good information involved there. We'll get the A-Sun started. We'll also have the Big South coming up. And we'll also have more getting going as well. We got the Northeastern Conference, which last year I took LIU Brooklyn at 10-1 to win the conference, and they won. Ohio Valley coming up, Patriot League, I'll tell you what we're going to do. Patriot League, Atlantic Sun, and Big South will be out later today. So make sure you check all those out. I'll include a tweet with all of them. Make sure you check them out. Make sure you check it out. It's going to be good stuff. P of the D, all the games I mentioned, I like. None of them are, I'm just going to give out good games. The games that I gave out are the games that I kind of had interest in. I wouldn't be playing them for tons of money. I would just be playing them for a little amount, have some fun. I leaned Notre Dame under 136.5, SMU under 141.5, Creighton Marquette over 146.5, Maryland money line, Washington minus 1.5, and Western Kentucky minus 4.5. When is the big day announcement? You'll see soon. Yeah, it sucks, Charles. Tons of snow. It sucks. Yes, all the previews will be out tonight by 6 p.m. I'm going to do them later this afternoon. I'm going to throw a tweet out. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. That's the best way to do it. Plenty of great comments, plenty of great things going on here. All you got to do is follow this account. We'll be throwing them out on here. So, yeah, that's going to be that. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. People asking about NASCAR. I didn't look at NASCAR today. I kind of just been worried about basketball. We have plenty of time for NASCAR, summer and stuff like that. Going forward, guys, a lot of my after basketball, college ends, most of my betting is going to be MLB. We're going to have a show every day going over the MLB card. And then the other shows are going to be about MLS, and we'll have NASCAR stuff as well. So, a lot of good stuff coming on the channels. We'll continue to grow it here. We'll bring on people that love MLB and enjoy MLB. We'll do that. Make sure also you support the sponsor, MyBookie. Go ahead and open an account, get some money on there. Use promo code BMOC when you open your account. Who are some good MLB cappers? Me. I am. I'm a good MLB capper. Premium selection will be out very soon, so make sure you look out for that. You all enjoy your day. We will. MLB is going to be a premium service. Yes, we're going to do that after basketball. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you next time tomorrow, 5 o'clock Eastern. Bye bye.